What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing a car that I've never really given much thought to, the 2024 Audi RS3. I always thought these sounded cool in theory, but I've never even sat in one, much less driven one. So today I'm going to see if this is a true sports sedan and whether I think it's worth your $60,000 to $70,000. The owner Igor mentioned that this car is all stock except for a couple of things on the interior, including the steering wheel cover, these aftermarket paddle shifters which just clip onto the stock paddles, and he's put on a JB4 piggyback tune. Otherwise, this car is powered by a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 5-cylinder engine, making 401 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. We have a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission with strut front suspension, multi-link rear. This car weighs a little over 3,600 pounds, and of course, it's all-wheel drive with a rear torque vectoring differential. Compared to the lower performance Audi S3, this has bigger brakes, stiffer suspension, and unique wheels on stickier tires. Interestingly enough, and this might be the only situation where I've seen a stock car with this, reverse stagger tires, so 265 in the front, 245 in the back. As I mentioned, MSRP brand new was somewhere in the $60,000 to $70,000 range, and even if you want to get a used one of the latest generation, you're looking at roughly $60,000 to $65,000 anyway. I have no expectations for this, so I'm just going to see how it drives. First impressions of the interior, it's very nice. Typical Audi. Of course, this is their smallest car that they offer in the United States. It's based on the A3, but it gets the fancy 5-cylinder engine. Basically, entry-level Audi interior. Unfortunately, there is a lot of piano black in the center console area. And the way this infotainment display is angled, it catches all the glare from the sun. At least the digital gauge cluster does have a shroud around it. The seats are very comfortable, very high quality, quilted leather, not super supportive, very little bolstering for your thighs, reasonable bolstering for your back. There are some cheaper materials on the doors, like this soft touch plastic. Well, actually this part is soft touch. This part is just hard plastic. Very mild startup. Igor mentioned that he's already set this up with the JB4. He is running E30, but he's chosen a map that gives smoother torque delivery. So we're going to use this drive select button, suspension sport, steering sport, engine sound present, which is the loudest one, I guess, and ESC in sport. RS torque splitter in sport, so I guess that would be more rear biased. Gone is the shifter. Now we just have this little, I don't know what you'd call it, a nub. We're following Kevin from the Jabal and Cars YouTube channel driving that beautiful JDM Evo 6, which we will be driving right after this. Inline 5-cylinder engine, that's got to be the highlight of this car, right? Let's roll the windows down a bit and see how it sounds. We'll put it into manual mode. Honestly, not super loud. Stock exhaust, so that's to be expected though. Wow. The moment I put my foot down in third gear, I can feel that torque vectoring differential doing its thing. Because I actually do feel a little bit of a tug in the steering, so the front end is getting a good amount of power. Oh, there's quite a bit of turbo lag, just below 3,000 RPM. Nice and quick downshift. Rapid car in a straight line. Wow, this front end is vague. Just off center, when you first start turning into a corner, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. You almost feel like the car's just going to keep pulling straight. Not because it doesn't have the front grip, but just because the steering has this vagueness just off center. And it doesn't really load up mid-corner either. Very quick in the straights. And the engine definitely makes a unique sound. I love that inline 5-cylinder baby V10 sound. The downshifts are immediate. I think the upshifts are actually a little bit slower than I'd like. Certainly no PDK in terms of shift speed. Lots of mid-corner grip. There is some body roll though. Nice firm brake pedal, very quick steering ratio. get on the throttle, it just feels unnatural. It's like that rear torque split. Oh yeah, see right there. Partial throttle, the front started tugging me in to the corner more when I didn't expect it. So it almost overcompensated for what I was trying to do. Ooh, the suspension feels quite soft, even in the sport setting. There is a lot of grip, no doubt. And a lot of traction as well coming out of corners. And the engine is very powerful. Makes a great sound as long as you keep it above 3,000 RPM. But I just can't quite get into a groove with this car because the front end just feels so, well, it doesn't have much feel at all. That's the issue. And the way this all-wheel drive system is splitting torque, it's a little weird. This is a front drive based all-wheel drive system, so maybe the way Audi tuned it with a rear torque vectoring differential is actually trying to cover up an inherent weakness of the car. That's kind of how it feels to me, overcompensating for the fact that this is not a rear wheel drive or rear drive based all-wheel drive. I am sort of getting used to it, but there's a little bit of a learning curve. There we go, getting into a groove with it now. I really wish this had better steering though. See right there, I just start squeezing the throttle coming out of a corner. The front tucks in, but not in a natural way, not in the way that I want or expect. I think the amplitude of the tuck, if that makes sense, is too great. I wish it was a little bit more progressive and smooth. There, did it again. Let me try something. We'll take the RS torque splitter into balanced. Let's see what that does. Yeah, the upshifts are just not that quick. The downshifts are perfectly fine. Didn't get enough time to really test out the different RS torque splitter settings, but definitely in sport, it's a little unnatural. It does help you turn into the corner more. So if that's its goal, it's actually getting it done. It's just, from my perspective, I don't feel like I'm in full control of the car. It's doing something it thinks is the best thing to do, not what I think is the best thing to do, if that makes sense. That being said though, very, very quick. You'd be hard pressed trying to keep up with this on a canyon road in say an M2. This car gives you more confidence because of the all-wheel drive system. It's not a snappy car whatsoever, even at canyon speeds. So highlights for me definitely would be the engine. The fact that we have all-wheel drive traction and stability in the corner, and the car feels like the right size. It's compact, pretty nimble. Even though it's over 3,600 pounds, it handles its weight well. What I don't like, again, the super numb steering, the vague on-center feel and lack of feedback mid-corner, but most importantly, it's that weird all-wheel drive torque split behavior. Also, I think the transmission is good, but not great. I've gotten used to really good dual clutches, and this one is just one step shy. That being said though, as a daily, this thing's great. It's comfortable. I wish we got the hatchback version here in the States, because that would be the one to get. I used to own an Audi A3, 2011, 2-liter turbo. I tuned it, 6-speed manual, front drive, open diff, but it was a hatch and I could throw a lot of stuff back there, including a full set of wheels and separate tires. So let me know what you think about this car. A big shout out to the owner, Igor. Is this worth your $60,000 to $70,000? Or are you better off paying a little bit more and getting a G87 M2? Mercedes CLA 45 AMG. I haven't driven one of those. Let me know if any of you guys have one. I'd love to test it out. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll see you very soon.